Trustee Bear? Trustee Bettinger? Trustee Johnson? Trustee Knutson?
Here.
Trustee Mick?
Here.
Trustee Pattison? Here. Mayor Bachman?
Here. All right, we have a quorum and can continue. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to that effect?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Announcements, I have no announcements. Does anyone else? Yes, Dave.
I hope this meeting would only last until 6 o'clock because that's when NBC is going to show skateboarding.
All right, thank you very much, Jay. All right, questions for Jay from the board? Yeah, Bill.
Jay, you just mentioned potential for future expansion. What are you referring to?
You know, to the part you actually which sport people work up a sweat, and so you know the more shade that we can have around it, the better. Structure it be just for people resting, possibly shading of the park, which would kind of increase its usability in the wintertime. Okay, sorry. And so GoCo has completely restructured their grant in terms of how they award their money. It's on a sliding scale now, which I think would probably benefit us and our community, and just the fact that we should be able to qualify for funds on a need basis. But I will be meeting with a local representative from GoCo in a couple weeks to really suss out what kind of matching funds we're going to have. Like I say, at this point in time, we've got around $80,000 in matching funds. I hope to bring that up to $100,000 in short order. If we can turn that into $300,000, that would be great. We probably wouldn't need to expand in the future. But if it's only like a 50% grant or match, and that turns into a $200,000 project cost, well, $200,000 won't get you too large of a skate park for the most part. So it kind of depends on our budget, you know. If we end up just having to do this in phases, start small and then add on to it as time goes on, that's what we'll have to do. But come hell or high water, we'd really like to break ground as soon as possible, get something in there, something that better than what we have right now, and and just go from there, you know.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Yeah, Tammy.
So I'm assuming that you're planning lighting. Will that be dark skies compliant? Because we probably are going to be passing a dark skies ordinance before long.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, we would love to have lighting. Optimally, I know there's already lights that exist there for the football field. Those are massive lights. Those are probably not going to cut the mustard with regard to dark skies. But yeah, we'd love to have lights. We'd love to be able to have the park open later into the evening to comply with the hours that are already in place there at the park. But yes, to answer your question, we'll do what we need to do with dark skies.
And then a second question. We have had neighbors express concerns about noise. Talk about how you plan to mitigate noise and address the situation of noise, because we had some very distressed neighbors in here talking about how they do not want this park here. So
Right.
Can you talk about noise?
Yeah. So one of the ways to mitigate noise is a little bit. So right now, where the current skate park is, it's right on the lot line of a neighbor. I mean, just the edge of the skate park is literally, probably 20 feet from the neighbor there. Originally, we had suggested doing some sort of a wall as a barrier there. I don't know how feasible that is. It would be great to do concrete, but I think you would probably need an additional footer in order for a concrete wall to be in place there. So I think that's why moving the park, at least the bulk of the park, to the north where the baseball diamond used to be, nudge it as far towards the football field as can be, and give at least some buffer space between the edge of the park and the neighborhood. As you can see in this little action or site plan that Matt provided, the possibility of putting up a bit of an earthen berm between the skate park and the neighbors there to the east, I think would be probably the easiest and cheapest way to help mitigate noise. The nature of concrete in and of itself is it's a much quieter surface than what we have there now. So, the kids that are skating there now, there's a couple wooden ramps, a couple metal ramps. They're really, really loud when skateboards hit them. And so if we were to have a pure concrete park, that noise level will go down tremendously. And we'll get rid of all those wooden ramps and whatnot that exist there. They need to be taken away anyway. They're beyond their useful life. So those are a couple of the things that we would do to help mitigate noise.
Other questions from the board?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. Well,
Sure.
I think that the noise deadening is almost going to be a requirement because one thing that I as a council member don't want to hear is a bunch of neighbors coming in and complaining about all the noise and the mayhem that's going on over there. So anything you can do to address that. And,
Yeah.
do you envision some sort of security around this thing, a fence or whatever, to have times when it's locked off? Or
I don't envision any sort of a locking off of the skate park. I'm not sure if that's needed. Most skate parks that I've ever been to don't really have a secure fenced off perimeter to keep people out. I think it's probably just inviting people to come and jump the fence if you have, you know, a locked off gate. So yeah, I don't think that there is a need for it personally. I'm certainly open to opinions as to why, you know, the skate park should be cordoned off at a certain time. You know, with regards to the park itself, it's my understanding is curfew at the park 10 p.m. Is that right? Right. So I think, you know, the general patrolling from the police force, the skate park's going to have to come under that purview of the police force and enforcing, you know, those rules.
All right, anything else from the board? All right, hearing none. Let's get a motion on the table and then we can have further discussion.
Well, I guess, what do you want from the town?
We need you guys to commit to a location, and this location, I think, is really the best that we have to work with at this point here that's on this site plan. So, you know, once you commit to the location, you guys have already committed to, you know, $23,000 in in-kind donations to help construct the skate park. You know, I would almost prefer that you insert that into your updated motion. And so once we have that commitment for the site, we'll probably in very short order put out an RFP request for proposal from various skate park contractors. Once we find a contractor, we'll probably end up shelling out some money for a design, and then once we have that design, we can really go to town with the Great Outdoors Colorado grant. So really, this is the first major step that will allow us to have that plan together for the Great Outdoors Colorado grant, which again that's how this thing is going to get funded in you know, the majority of it for sure.
Okay, are we clear on what? Yes, Dave,
I'll just make a motion.
please do.
Okay. I'd like to move that we approve the Paonia Action Park site plan draft as mentioned in our packets, and that we also approve the in-kind contributions that we had previously committed to.
Do I hear a second? All right, any more discussion from the board? Yes. Michelle.
There was a mention in our packet of possibly needing to move some irrigation-related infrastructure depending on the final location. Do we have any more information about what that entails, or would this be a cost to the town, or would this become part of the budget for construction of the skate park?
I don't have any clear information. My initial thought would be the extension may require removal of irrigation lines that are on the old baseball field section. I would anticipate it would be minor, of where it would need to be capped off and reconnected, but I would want to check with Public Works Director Loberg on the specific details.
Any other discussion? Janet.
I would like to add something to the motion,
Okay.
amend the motion. I believe we need a plan in place for mitigating noise. I would like to move that we approve as presented, as per Dave's motion, and with a plan for mitigating noise.
Okay, do I hear a second on that motion? Any discussion on the amendment to the motion? Yes, Michelle.
Since it's been shared with us, and in my own reading I've confirmed that concrete skate parks make considerably less noise than what we have there now. Generally it's considered no more than just normal recreational noise. So I would prefer to hold off on requiring a mitigation plan, which would add substantial cost to the project, without doing a
That was exciting.
it would be nice to have more data on the actual anticipated noise, the measurement of decibels in a similar park, so that we can see if that's really necessary based on the noise versus the rest of our park as is.
Any other discussion from the board? Yes, Dave.
I'd just like to point out that anyone who purchases a home near a park knows there's going to be events. We used to have Friday night football games there, and they're there no longer. So I think overall there's a lot less activity and less noise. And I would agree with Trustee Pattison about too many onerous requirements on the motion. So.
Yes, Bill.
Well, I agree with the noise mitigation. That's why I like to see your berm there with trees included. I think it's a great thing to add. And the Friday night lights, yes, we had them once a week for the fall football season. This is going to be a year, potentially, as long as you can skate year round. So it's a significant difference.
Anyone else? Well, I would like to mention that I also did research, and like Michelle, that concrete skate parks aren't excessively noisy. The other thing is moving the skate park away from that corner, because the noise was bouncing off the metal building and exacerbating the situation. And if this skate park is in a different location, then that's now no longer going to happen. And so it's going to be less. All right, anything else from the board? Yeah, Bill.
Have you done any legwork as far as working with the neighbors of this to see how amenable they are to it or how opposed they are to it? You had any of those discussions?
The neighbor that currently has her house for sale, you know, I have been certainly the most vocal of the neighbors, and I can see why. And I had been, you know, conversing with her, you know, over the past several months, and, you know, really feeling for her. And that's, you know, is one of the main reasons why we were pursuing this other location where noise really wouldn't be an issue. Beyond the one neighbor there that's in question, no, I have not done any other legwork with other neighbors to see how they feel about it.
Well, for me to be happy about it, I would like to see you do some of that. You know, that's your own politic, and so they don't bring the arguments down here to us. We have enough.
All right, anything else from the board?
I'd just like to make one more comment.
Yes.
I guess
Tammy.
they say if you were looking for, if they were looking for a different place because they were concerned with noise, why is the concern for noise no longer there? Just a question, a comment, maybe a rhetorical question.
And I think, as Jay pointed out, the cement park is a lot quieter than what is currently there, and the noises will no longer be bouncing off the Owen Hansen Center. So that's two reasons. All right. Anything from the public? Oh, yes. Well, we were doing the noise mitigation thing. Yeah, does anyone from the public have something to say? We're talking about the noise mitigation efforts. Okay, yes. Please come to the microphone, state your name, make sure the microphone is on, and your address. That would be cool.
Hi, my name is Lila. I guess I would just add that the people living next to the skate park has been there for years and years. They've known it's been there, so I think that the noise has been something that if it bothers them, they maybe should have considered that before they moved into the house. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Christo Mora. So you're trying to get it to be less noisy. If you try to move it towards like the football field and you kind of made it like one pathway. Okay. So like in the plan, you see how there's like a straight line and then it curves. If you moved it closer to the football field and just made the entire thing straight, and then it would flow better and it would be farther away from the houses. Just like a thought.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Keith Trumbull. I skated a bunch of parks in Denver, Colorado, in the metro when they started popping out underneath like the GoCo grants. And I came from Oregon, where there's a substantial amount of skateboard parks here for decades. And yeah, noise is, if it was already zoned for a park, it should continue, just because the activity is switched. I don't feel any kind of noise, added to the contract or the city plans is really needed. The Denver parks all have houses and are zoned with condos and homes next to these concrete skate parks, like from Stapleton to Boulder to Denver, Broomfield, Parker, Aurora. I mean, these are all, they're all zoned to the city. And the needs of the park have just switched now to a skateboard park. So I don't understand why you would require these folks that are doing all this work to have anything to do with the noise. And it's a great idea. 17 years ago, I skated Paonia Park, and it was hurting then. 17 years ago. And then I went back to Oregon and skated all these good parks in other parts of the state here in Colorado. Like even Vail. Their skateboard parks have started to deteriorate, so they make a new one. It's overdue. We just, I think I'm excited for it, but it needs to happen. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Yes. Please ask it in the mic.
One brief question, and then I have another statement. They're just identifying themselves by a first name, no last name, no address. Is that allowed?
I should have asked them for a last name.
I wish you
and an
had,
address.
because we don't know where they're coming from
Okay.
or where they live or like that, okay? Should I continue? 'Cause
Yes, do your statement.
Okay, I would be for natural berms, so bushes, shrubs, trees. It also mitigates the sound. It also cools things off, because a slab of concrete, it's like a parking lot. Hot, hot, hot. Maybe more hot than noise. The other thing is, well, that's good for now. That's good for now. Thank you. But
All right. Yes, Sandy.
Hi, I'm Sandy Chetnick Norris. I live at 610 North Fork Avenue, so I'm right down the street from the park. So I've actually used the park, but to play street hockey in with rollerblades. So I was going to say, if you're going to do this, if you smooth out the skate park and you plan to move the other one north, you can smooth out that one. It's already enclosed, and you can have a street hockey court. Now, the other thing is, I see there's trees butted up there. I guess that's the east side, and I don't know how much that would mitigate the noise without having to put up other trees. But I mean, you could do both, but it looks like there's some trees there. And for shade, I don't know if this would work for a skate park, but it works for playgrounds, and I was going to suggest it for playgrounds here. They make these tall tarps, and they're either square or triangular, and they shade lots, and they're in every place all over Israel, and that's a sunny place. So I don't know if it would work for a skate park, and I don't know if the kids here have seen any of those kind of tarps over the skate park, but it could also be used for the audience or the spectators. And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Carl Johnson. I live up at the end of North Fork. I volunteered last time when the half pipe got donated. I think it was Dependable that donated all that lumber. Mostly, I just came down to offer any help I can give. And just as by way of anecdotal noise stuff, 3 blocks away, for 15 years, I've been hearing the megaphones and the football games and all that. Has it caused any problems? I have never heard a skateboard wheel. I guess that's all I got. But if I know it sounds like money is not an issue, but when it comes to anything, any kind of effort I can donate to support you, and I know how hard you've worked, happy to do it.
Thank you. Yes. Please state your full name and address. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Odessa Shank from Highway 133, 41263, Paonia, Colorado. I think that the combination of the concrete and the earth barrier, the noise will definitely drop a lot. The skate park is very, very loud right now because of the ramps. So I feel personally that the noise kind of has been mitigated. I think maybe if we were able to look at another skate park that is concrete before we say that this skate park is too loud, I think that could help us get an idea and talk to the neighbors and see how they feel about it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Liza Eller, and I live on 414 Samuel Wade Road. And I'd just like to point out the idea that the music in the park is always and will always be exponentially louder than the skate park.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, we have a motion and a second to ask for noise mitigation in the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Trustee Bear? Trustee Budinger?
Nay.
Trustee Knutson?
Nay.
Trustee Meck?
Aye.
And Trustee Pattison?
Nay.
That motion fails. So now we go back to the main motion. Is there any further discussion from the board on the main motion? Yes, Bill.
Although this is a sporting event and such, did this need to go to the zoning commission, planning and zoning, for review before we proceed with this?
No, I don't believe so. It's a modification of existing structure.
Anything else from the board? All right, anything else? Oh, yes, Michelle.
I just wanted to double check on our approval tonight gives Jay and this group an opportunity to move forward with the grant, but we're not committing to a final design. Is that correct? So as far as final placement and details, that will come back to the board for additional discussion.
That is accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have something you wanted to say, Dave? Okay. All right, anything else? Anything else from the public? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Paonia Action Park site plan as the location for the new skate park and to confirm the town's, I believe it's $25,000 in-kind contribution. 23. Okay, roughly 23.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, we have a skate park in our future. Thank you, everybody. And I especially want to thank every one of you young people who showed up and talked to us. Your input is really valuable. And I hope you come back again when it's something besides the skate park. All right. All right, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.